All right. Well, our special guest today is a good friend of mine, a amazing former lawyer, now full time mediator, and we're going to explain what that is. Peter Taaffe, and fellow Longhorn.
That's right. Hey, Ralph, thanks for having me.
Yeah, yeah. And Peter has a very successful podcast himself. It's called The Dirty Verdict. If any of you have not seen it or listened to it or found it on all the channels, it's everywhere. Go check it out because he's had tons of great guests. They talk about a lot of topics that legal topics and cases and things that are important not only to just lawyers, but I think the average person would enjoy. So check out The Dirty Verdict, and Peter is the host of that show, and his crazy and fun and intelligent co-hosts are pretty funny. I listen to all of them. As soon as they come out, I listen to them. I try to make sure I'm one of the first likes, so y'all get that positive feedback, and I really enjoy it. So I hope y'all keep going.
Yeah, appreciate it. It's been fun, and it's kind of been audience of lawyers. We talk kind of inside baseball lawyer stuff, but also for non-lawyers who are just interested in, some true crime or kind of the crazier news stories. We do a little bit more uh, kind of analysis than you might get from, TV stations or CNN or something like that. So yeah, we've enjoyed it, and we try to publish once a week.
Yeah, I tell people if they haven't heard it, I'm like, you need to listen to it. It's awesome. So let's jump right in. I wanted to have you on because I've been practicing for about 27 years and have done tons of mediations and have lots of litigation clients. But I think there's a general, ignorance, I think, from people that, when we, even our clients, we say, hey, we're going to go to mediation. They're like, what's that? So if you don't mind, explain to, the audience what you do as a mediator and what mediation is.
Sure. So, yeah, it's interesting because pre-COVID, I started doing full-time mediation in September of 21. Prior to that, I was a trial lawyer, but primarily on the plaintiff side for 25 years. Pre-COVID, it was a much more formal. Lawyers and clients would all go to another lawyer in the mediator's office and sit in a room, sometimes do an opening statement, and it was very tense because it's when it's in person, it's a little more intimate. So could be overwhelming to non-lawyers, understandably so. I started after COVID, so everyone had become very familiar with Zoom. And I thought when I started mediating that at that point in time, COVID was kind of coming to an end and everything was normalizing. So I thought we were going to go back to how we did it before, which was in person. And it turned out that everyone kind of liked how things had changed in doing them by Zoom. Both the plaintiff side, it was easier because for a client, to have to drive in downtown. A lot of lawyers are downtown. That was a real pain. Or for the insurance side, adjusters are usually not located in Houston, so they would have had to fly in to town. So everyone seemed to like it, and everyone stayed with it. So now that's a long lead into what the format is, and the format is 99% of my time is by Zoom. So the client will get a Zoom link, and I prepared a video when I started my practice because I was just trying to be helpful. That was about a 3-minute overview on the process, and I can send it to you, Ralph, if
Yeah,
I can find
we
it.
need that. That's great. I never knew
Yeah,
that. Yeah, send it, please.
I have it in English and Spanish. Um, so what I do, so with the for your clients, what the situation is let me get this. I tell every plaintiff, your client, today is everything's confidential. This is just this is no obligation to settle today. This isn't a day in court. This is just a day for a lot of people to all come together and focus on your claim, your dispute. And that's all we're going to do in this session is only talk about your case. And we're going to, the first there, and I've been telling plaintiffs now there's really three phases to a mediation. The first phase is where I'm talking through the process with both sides and making sure everyone understands the facts. So if there's a car accident, for instance, how it happened, did the officer do an investigation? Did the officer make a conclusion on who they thought was at fault? Are there any witnesses? What's the nature of the property damage? Did the other insurance company pay for your property damage? We need to work on that. All those things, and then on the medical side, what type of medical treatment you had, what the amount is, how you're doing now. Have you done treating, or are there other treatments that you need to have in the future? What are those costs? Do you have any other out-of-pocket expenses? Did you miss work for which you weren't compensated? Get all that information, go into the other Zoom room with the defendant, and I have that conversation with them. Sometimes there'll be a discrepancy in the medical bills.
So in the defendants, when you switch rooms, generally, so people understand, in the plaintiff's room, which I'm a plaintiff's lawyer, it would be me and my client and maybe my client's spouse, maybe, but usually it's just me and my client. And then in the other room, it's the defense lawyer, and then who else is normally in that quote unquote Zoom room?
Yeah, normally it is a representative of the insurance company who is providing the defense and coverage for the other, let's say a driver. So it'd be someone from, say, Allstate or Progressive or any of the insurance companies. Sometimes there'll be a representative of the company. Some companies are self-insured, so the money's coming out of their pockets, so they'll have a claims professional or an in-house lawyer.
But generally, I mean, is the defendant driver that allegedly caused the collision ever in the mediation room?
No,
Okay.
typically not.
All right.
Because it's not it's the money
not
that
their
would
money.
be settling. Yeah, the money that would be providing a settlement of the claim is coming from the insurance company. So they kind of step in the shoes. That's, when you pay for insurance, when you pay a premium on the insurance, the idea that they all tell us is that we're going to take care of it. If you cause an accident, don't worry about it. We'll put our team in place to take care of this for you. And so that's the other driver's representation.
Okay. And so you go back and forth and you're trying to get some sort of baseline agreement, I guess, or you tell us, like, what's your job in the beginning of a mediation? What are you trying to look for or trying to establish to get things, I guess, moving in the right direction?
I mean, overall, and every mediator is different and has their own style. I have the style that I appreciated when I was on in your role. Having, done 1,000 of them, I got a sense of what I liked and what I thought was most helpful. So I try to be very facilitative, meaning keep everyone on track, try to lessen emotions as much as possible, even though it can be emotional, but just try to listen and be, definitely a listening ear, but try to keep it on what we're focused on for the day. Make sure the information is shared. If there's a lot of times on the emotions, people get frustrated because they say, well, they didn't send me that info until now, and they should have sent that to me a long time ago. And just kind of like, all right, yes, you're right, but let's focus on today, and you have it now, so let's get to it. But I'm not a type, and I don't know. Maybe there's others that do it. I'm not a browbeater. I'm not someone who gets mad at anyone. To me, it's both of y'all's case. It's you and your clients on the other side. Y'all know I'm just hearing this for the first time that day, or maybe the day before when you've sent me materials and I've read them. So I'm not the judge or jury, and so this is y'all's case. I'm here to facilitate, maybe give some feedback on, hey, do you think I should make this move? Would it be helpful? Um, in both sides. I'm just really here to help.
Right.
And so um,
Well,
that's how it is. That's how I approach it.
yeah. And so people are coming to you from our side trying to get money from the insurance company to pay a claim, and then the insurance company's lawyer and representative are coming to get your help in maybe getting the plaintiff side, our side, to lower our expectations and lower our demand amount so we can somehow meet in the middle and get this case off everyone's desk.
Yeah, exactly. They come in, the insurance companies typically do a very good job of assessing a claim early on and giving some amount of authority, of settlement authority to the adjuster. They're obviously not going to come in and just offer that full amount right off the bat because it's a negotiation. So they will, for both sides, need to come into it with an open mind and hey, understanding I may learn some things today that I didn't know or some new information or just a different way to think about things, both sides. And so definitely, if a case settles, it usually requires both sides to reevaluate in real time as the mediation is going, and either plaintiff to lower their amount or mixture of both. Plaintiff to lower their expectation, defendant to go make some phone calls to senior people to see if they can get more authority.
Yeah, I know that, and you've done this before, and it's been really helpful. But going back to the emotional thing for the client who's been injured in this car wreck and had to, deal with getting their car fixed or not get, or their car being totaled, getting a rental car, missing work, still having back pain, post traumatic stress disorder, all these things that they've had to deal with. And then they come into a mediation, and the first thing they hear from you is that the other side's only offered them $5,000. And then, they're pissed off and they're sad and they're angry and they're frustrated, and there's a lot of emotion. And sometimes I've even scheduled mediations with you in particular because I'm like, and I'll tell you ahead of time, like, hey, Peter, I might need your help, calming this client down or getting them in a frame of mind to settle. Because also what happens is we get a client that's coming into mediation going, well, I'm not going to settle unless I get $100,000. And me, you, and every other lawyer in town knows that they're never going to get that. Like, their case just isn't worth that. So,
Yeah.
when those kind of situations, what do you, where do you draw from, I guess, in your experience to help, help someone get in a frame of mind to try to get their case resolved?
Yeah. And I tell every plaintiff at the initial session that there is no obligation to settle today. Today is just an opportunity to go through the facts and then to entertain financial offers on both sides. But I'm clear there's an alternative to settling. You don't have to settle. There's a courthouse where 12 people will be called down and they'll hear everything and they'll make their decision. And it may be higher than what is going to happen today, or maybe lower, maybe nothing. If the jury finds the plaintiff 51% or more at fault, then they don't get anything.
Yeah.
And so that it's up kind of back to my style thing. I tell them this is your case, and you have a risk tolerance, Mr. Plaintiff or Miss Plaintiff, that is purely yours and your choice. And
Yeah.
if for me, let's say you have an opportunity to net $50,000 today, or you want to go take your chance with the jury, I totally respect that. That's way too much risk for me. I'm not a big gambler, and I've got family obligations, so I just don't have the luxury of having that much risk tolerance. But if you do, that is 100% your choice. And most people, when they start to think about it that way, that is, of course, it's emotional when you're injured and you've had to go through the stuff through no fault of your own. I totally understand. I've represented thousands of clients, so I sat in mediations. I totally understand that. But at some point, the reality is it's got to be a business decision. And and I tell everyone, we don't have to have that business decision until the end of the day. So let's
Right.
just get it to where you can make a business decision,
Right.
and then let you do that. But you don't, like I said, a business decision can very well be no, and that's fine.
Yeah. I think it's also helpful to when you and I both, when we tell the client that, you have the opportunity to decide today what you're going to walk away with. Whereas if you go to the courthouse, you don't, it's the decision's out of your hands. It's in the decision's in 12 other people's hands, and you never know what you're going to get. So,
That's right.
I think you do a good job of explaining it. Before we jump off, give us a fun mediation story. You've been doing it for 4 years now or so. Give us a good one that, without disclosing, I guess, anything that you can't disclose, one that you were just like, wow, when you were done with it.
Oh, Um, I don't, some of the in-person ones with some of our mutual friends can be pretty intense. I I think I have a good, I don't have a ton of gifts, but one of them is I'm able to absorb a lot of anger. That I know it's not directed at me, even though it is directed at me, but
Yeah.
I'm a proxy for other people, and so there have been some, um, you know, definitely yelling matches
Yeah.
where it could have gotten into fisticuffs, and
Wow.
um, I've been able to kind of cool it down. But I mean, I had one, and I'm just trying. I don't want to give too much info, but I've definitely had them where people have come in with multiple $1 million demands, and then through the process of just talking through it, and because they were very angry, they
Hmm.
thought they had this had been pre-discovery, this is or pre-lawsuit, so they had thought in their minds, this is what happened, and I got messed around here, and I want my pound of flesh. And then we spent the day kind of figuring things out, and then they went, "Oh, I didn't realize that this is how things really happened, and this other side is not sinister." And fortunately, I had the relationship with a plaintiff lawyer that they knew if I was telling them, I wasn't lying to them. Like I had seen the documents
Hmm.
with my own eyes, and it looked to me like, yeah, there wasn't anything sinister. This was just an honest, someone made a mistake somewhere, and you definitely were entitled, and no issue with you thinking that way. But now that you've seen it, and then they appreciated it, and they were actually, of course, their number, it ultimately settled
Changed
for a much lower number.
significantly.
Yeah, but they were actually happy. I mean, the money I'm sure was great, but I think they were very happy to have gotten the explanation. I always felt that way when I was a plaintiff's lawyer. Of course, the money has, needs to pay for medical bills and for compensation, but so many times, particularly in death cases, the family members were were relieved. Not, and that's there's probably a poor choice of words, but when it was just to understand what happened, because they didn't know what happened to their loved one on that day and how they passed away and what happened. And once they learned that, it really released a lot for them to know that. And so that's what I think the process. I mean, and people get frustrated. I know a lot of lawyers hate it and they think it's a waste of time. And sometimes it can be, but I think the vast majority of time, the mediation in a lot of ways serves a lot of good, and ultimately settles 90% plus
Yeah.
of cases.
Yeah. Well, I know that in my experience, you do an awesome job on the cases that we've brought you. We try to get into you as much as possible, but now that you're such a superstar in not only in Houston, but I'm sure the whole state of Texas is wanting you. That it's difficult to get on your schedule, but I know you do a great job, and I know that I'm speaking not only for myself, but every lawyer that I've talked to, and we talk about you and your mediations, that you do a great job. So keep it up, man, and
Yeah,
thanks
I
a lot.
I enjoy it. I mean, I do follow-ups, and people say, well, you don't have to do all this follow-up, but I just enjoy it. I like lawyers. I like on both sides. I never really dealt with adjusters, but I've really enjoyed some adjusters are great and very not necessarily the evil people that sometimes they get cast.
Yeah.
They are honestly trying to resolve claims and work hard. So I really enjoy what I do. So I appreciate you saying that, Ralph.
Yep. Yep. And hook 'em horns this weekend versus Ohio State. And I look forward to seeing you soon. Thanks for making time. I know you're super busy, so great to see you, and thank you.
Yeah, you too, Hookem. I'm unfortunately wearing a kind of a Ohio State tie, but I didn't choose that this morning. And yeah, we'll be up there.
Yeah, you're grounded for that for sure.
Yeah,
That's not good. We're gonna get rid
I've
of
got
that
a
one.
Michael Taaffe jersey here. I should have popped it on before. We had him on during our podcast
I
the day
saw that
before.
picture. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, good to see you, and hang tight for a few seconds, but I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, thanks.
You just learned something new. Attorney 911, the podcast, with attorney Ralph Manginello. We hope you found today's conversation insightful and helpful. Don't forget to subscribe to the show so you'll never miss an episode, and share it with family and friends who might benefit from the things we talk about. A new podcast launches every week. That means you get more legal tips, real-life cases, and expert advice. This is Attorney 911, the podcast.